TPN, the Sovereign Americans News Network.
The democracy form of government will have a pecking order. And we must understand that pecking order if we're going to understand how our system was designed to function 200 years ago. The pecking order in a majority rule democracy is here. You will notice, of course, I have the pecking order over here in the constitutional republic, which is our lawful form of government. The founders of this country, the word democracy was a dirty word in their vocabulary. Thomas Paine, the great motivator of the American War of Independence, he said, a democracy is the vilest form of government there is. James Madison, who is known as the father of our U.S. Constitution, he said a democracy will lead to the loss of property rights. It will lead to chaos. They knew that a democracy would not work, and they tried to warn us about the dangers of a democracy. But here we are 200 years later, and our government controls the schools, and they're teaching that we have a democracy. Thomas Paine must be spinning in his grave, because we today in this country have a vile form of government. What does that word vile mean? Well, I think the word evil probably is more fitting, and we probably understand that a little better today if we say we have an evil government. Now, the pecking order. Right at the top in the pecking order here in this system, we have Group X. I will explain who Group X is after I go through the rest of the list, because no one has ever told us anything about there being a Group X up there at the very top in our political system. They taught us that the majority controlled the government with their vote on election day. This vote right here. They said that the majority controls the government. The government then, of course, controls the public servants. They create the case and the statute law. The statute law, of course, creates the corporations. And guess who's on the bottom in this democratic system? We, the people, as individuals, are on the bottom. We are powerless today in the system if you are operating under the rules and the teaching that was given to you in the government school. You are powerless if you're not using your grand jury vote and your trial jury vote to control that monster. Most Americans find themselves right here on the bottom today. They go to the polls on election day, and they are confronted with a ballot that has two evils. Two evils. You've got two candidates running for the same office, and they're both evil, and you try to figure out which is the lesser of two evils, right? And you walk out of those polls after you have cast your ballot, and you are frustrated, and you feel absolutely powerless. The reason is you're on the bottom. That registered voter that understands his grand jury and his jury power, he's not that concerned, because he knows that if he gets on that grand jury or on that trial jury, he can make his vote count. He has some power because he has knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is truth stored in the mind. If you have lies stored in the mind, you don't have any knowledge, do you? You have degrees. You perhaps have all kinds of letters behind your name. PhD, perhaps. But if it was the lies you believed that qualified you for that PhD, you don't have knowledge. These people down here don't have knowledge. They have believed the lie, and they believe that their only power is that one vote on election day. Group X, who are they? Every Monday morning we have 12 bankers that go back to Washington, D.C. These 12 bankers are unelected. They never run for office. You will never see their names on a ballot. You are not going to have any choice as to who they are. They are unknown. And they will remain unknown because they don't want you to know who they are. And they don't want you to understand how much power they have because they control the majority. Now, let's go over here to the pecking order in this constitutional republic, the form of government that the founders gave us back there with the Constitution for the United States of America. They had that constitutional convention back there in 1787. By 1791, December of 1791, we had the Constitution ratified and we had the Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution had been ratified by the states. We had an independent nation. It was a nation of independent sovereign states. Now, I won't get into that part of it, but here was the pecking order in the system that they gave us at that point in time. They put God, our Creator, at the very top. Go back and read the Declaration of Independence, and they talk about nature's God. Who are they talking about? They're talking about a Creator God. Now, they put the individual next in line. God didn't create this system. It was people. We the people created the system. You'll notice that the Constitution is below we the people. These individuals, that's what we make up as we the people. And they wrote the Constitution. We're not below the Constitution. I don't have any constitutional rights. My rights are inalienable or unalienable, whichever term you want to use, because they came from my Creator. And the founders understood that so very, very well. And so here we are here, and so now we have written a law called the Constitution for the United States of America. Not the Constitution of the United States. It is the Constitution for the United States of America. The United States, the municipal corporation in the District of Columbia, they have their Constitution. But the Constitution that is supposed to govern them is this Constitution right here, written by we the people. And that Constitution, of course, created the government, created the public servants. These public servants create the statute law. Case law doesn't fit over here in this system at all. Over here, it's case law that governs this nation today. And the corporation is on the bottom, created by the statute law. Now, if in that government class, when we went to high school, if they had put the contrast, if they had put these two pecking orders up on the blackboard in front of our class, and then said, now class, which system do you prefer to live under? Do you want to live over here in this system where you're up here at the top, where you're above the Constitution? Or do you want to be over here in this system where you're on the bottom and there is no Constitution at all here? The Constitution means nothing in this system here. The Congress of the United States, they wrote a law that's called the Anti-Injunction Act that says that if the IRS puts a high assessment against you, you have to pay that money, you have to pay that assessment before you can have access to the courts. Well, the Fifth Amendment says you are guaranteed the right to due process, right? Well, how come they can do that? How come the Supreme Court says it's constitutional? Well, the Supreme Court, they say, we control. We are the ones that tell you what the Constitution means.
TPN, the Sovereign Americans News Network.